This is another Disney podcast production.
Hello and welcome to another Disney podcast. And no, don't adjust your screen if you're watching the video. You're stuck with just me this week. Our month of May has been absolutely insane. And so I'm so sad that Brandon and Matthew, we couldn't get our schedules together for this monster announcement. So you're stuck with me. But I am ready to just nix the intro and dive right in because I am so excited to share our news with you. Okay, here we go. Deep breath. We are growing as a network. So what that means is we are excited to announce that along with Another Disney Podcast, our main show that has been here since we started, and of course, since then we launched Reimagineer It, which we're huge fans of. And then we also do our fun little kind of auditory experience of Experience Disney. I shouldn't have said experience twice. It doesn't make any sense. So in addition to those shows, I am excited to share with you that we have found some amazing talent and some amazing guests, and we're announcing that we are launching 3 new shows this summer. So the ADP family is growing like crazy, and I don't want to waste your time. I'm so excited for you to meet these new hosts that will be running their shows. Let's just jump in right away. Let's just go. I'm so excited. I'm really excited about our first guest because there's multiple pieces that is going to come to the table with this guest. And so I would love to introduce to you Tom. And Tom, welcome to this special edition. I don't know what this is, this crazy announcement that we're doing and how we're growing and what that looks like. And you're a huge part of that. So thanks for coming on this episode. Welcome to the Another Disney Podcast family, I guess.
Well, thank you very much. Is this like Premier Access? Will this be like Disney Plus's Premier Access exclusive interview?
Yes, except it's completely free. I wish I could have found a way to do Premier Access charging. And then, or maybe that's what we should call it, Premier Excess instead of Access.
I like it. Let's trademark that. No, thank you. Thank you so much to you and the guys at Another Disney Podcast. I've been excited ever since we started discussing this so long ago about coming on board with you guys and getting involved. I've been listening to you and watching your videos for ages, and this is a big honor for me as well. So thank you so much. Well,
I can't tell you how giddy I have been about this. And what is funny is, but like, we've been talking for, gosh, I mean, it maybe gone on close to 2 months now? I mean, I know it's been at least 5 or 6 weeks. And so I'm so excited to finally be able to share this because we've had all this rumblings going on that we get on the show every week. And, we just can't share because, the I's aren't dotted, the T's aren't crossed. And so we haven't really been able to share this yet, but this is the show. This is our moment, if you will. So we obviously spend a lot of the time on our show talking about our ridiculous obsession, not only with Disney, but mostly Disney parks. And so one of the things that we have been after is finding the right person that we fell in love with, that had the knowledge, the experience, the passion, right? Because we want that passion to line up too. And helping our listeners when they're ready to plan their trip, that we have a resource to say, yes, you need to go to this person. And so I am beyond proud and excited to announce that Tom is that person. And Tom runs and owns Fly Mickey Travel, which is all about, you guessed it, flying or traveling to your whatever Mickey destination that you want to go to. So Tom, thank you. Please share with us, who is Fly Mickey Travel? Why did this start? Why do you do what you do? I mean, I have a sneaky suspicion as the why behind it, but I want to unpack what kind of the service is and what makes you unique from a lot of other travel agents that are in the Disney game.
Well, thank you for that introduction. And I am a huge Disney fan. I have been a Disney fan, Disney obsessed since I was 7 or 8 years old, when my dad took me to Walt Disney World back in long time ago, back in the 80s, towards the end of the 80s, early 90s. And then back in those days, going to a Disney was a once in a lifetime holiday. And at that point, my dad wasn't doing too badly money-wise. He was a professional golfer and so had a little extra spare cash. So we got to go to Walt Disney World a few times. We just fell in love with the parks. And there's me, who's very outgoing, very flamboyant. I like to dance around the parks. I like to go on all the rides. And then there's my brother, who is a journalist now, who stays behind a typewriter. And he was the complete opposite of me. So we would like chalk and cheese going around the parks. But I absolutely adored everything about the way that Disney works. And ever since then, I've had the Disney bug. Right up to today, where literally in the morning, the first thing I do is I stick YouTube on and I see what the latest blogs are, see what people around the world are doing. I've watched some awesome ones from Shanghai this morning that have been really interesting, and kind of a lot of knowledge going on there about what's happening in the Asia parks, which is great because a lot of people don't know what's happening with the Asia parks, or even that there are Asia parks. It's quite funny when you say to people, hey, like, have you been to Hong Kong Disney? And they're like, there's something outside America. So that's basically what I do on a daily basis. Is I just envelop anything I can find about Disney, and my day is intense with Disney information that's coming through, and I just love helping people plan how to make that magic happen, which just happens to be our company slogan: "Make magic happen."
There you go.
So and that's so I spent 15 years working in the music industry all over the Mediterranean, which was fun. Had an amazing time, but I earned absolutely nothing. And so when it got to a certain time in my life, I decided now maybe the time to actually start a business for myself. And what do I want to do? Well, I want to do something that I thoroughly enjoy, that I can make some money at the same time. Right. But money isn't the be all and end all. If I can do something that I thoroughly enjoy and build a brand, what am I going to do? Well, Disney was the obvious choice. And so therefore I did my various Disney training. I got associated with various travel organizations, and I started to build the brand. And to me, the brand had to be important, and Mickey kind of had to be part of that brand. And so I looked at other travel companies that were niching and specializing. And to me, Fly Mickey was like, it just, the moment I read those words, it was like an explosion in the brain. That's it. So Fly Mickey became then my travel company. And that's where we are today. And we make bespoke travel magic happen for people.
I love it. Now, I've talked about this a couple of times on our show, and that is, this company launched like right after kind of COVID hit. I think I have my dates right. And that is a company called Clubhouse, which I'll do my best to explain what it is. It's almost like a live Zoom call over audio podcast, but you can follow and join in on shows of whatever you can imagine, whatever you're passionate about, whether it's like, I'll just be transparent. I'm on like 15 different Disney themed Clubhouse rooms, and that's really all I do. There's a couple of podcast ones that I jump onto, but I mean, it could be anything from, I've seen all kinds of, there's a Disney trivia show that happens every week, and I won one week, and they send you a little Disney park pin. Like, I love it. Anyway, so that's where I met Tom. And so, you find these like-minded people. And so I started, I of course looked on his profile, went to all of his social media, and I found his YouTube channel. This changed everything. So this was moment one for me. And so I forget how, I think I messaged you on your Instagram, probably, because it's really still kind of, it's smart. Like Clubhouse, it's not, you can't just connect with somebody through the app. If people have their social media, you can DM them on there, but so they kind of keep a nice distance, or you're not like constantly bothering or communicating with people within the app. So, but it does make it a little bit more challenging. So I was like, okay, I'm going to reach out to this guy. He doesn't know me from Adam. He's going to think this is so weird. Anyway, so I reached out to him, and I was like, I was blown away at the video content that he was creating on YouTube every week. So let me try to paint a picture. I'll do my best, Tom. So you create
these like roughly 8 to 12 minute weekly videos of that kind of week's news. But the production value is absurdly incredible. And then you're gathering all of these stories. It's whatever hot, whatever's happening, but it's not just. What drew me was your knowledge outside of just your Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Now you certainly cover that. You help your clients who want to book and go on those, but your information and just the quality of content that you created and what you know surrounding all of Disney properties blew me away. And so I think I first reached out and I was just like, hey man, I think your videos are incredible. I was like, because that wasn't a lie. I wasn't trying to suck you into anything, because I really thought that. And so the first piece that I am, again, really excited to announce is Tom is going to allow us to take his weekly videos and put it on our YouTube channel every week. So obviously his content will still be there. We want to point you to his YouTube channel. And so you can check out, because he has a library of already. And so now as we start producing these every week, he is allowing us to have his show on our channel for YouTube. And again, they're like 8 to 12 minutes. And I'm telling you, if you want to know what's going on in the world of Disney, this is so great. It's not an hour and a half show where you're listening to these other weirdos talk all the time. I'm pointing at myself. You actually can just get everything that's hot that week in a super well-produced video. So Tom, I'm going to stop talking because I feel like you're probably going to throw up from all the compliments that I keep giving you. But guys, I cannot wait for you to see this. It really is incredible.
Well, thank you. And actually, I mean, it is a great pleasure to have someone compliment your content. It is relatively new in terms of YouTube channeling. We've only just reached 100 subscribers right now, and they are dedicated people. They watch every week, which is fantastic.
Yes.
So it is wonderful to see it grow a little bit by little bit by little bit every time that I post a new video. I feel so sorry for my laptop every Saturday when I sit in front of it and I go, it's the weekend again. And you can just hear my laptop go, oh, okay. So because my laptop is nearly as old as me, so I am really, really pleased with it, that it helps me create some fun content, and I love putting it together. And yeah, there is a world of Disney outside of the US. And I think people often forget that there is more to Disney than just Walt Disney World. And here's the funny thing. Walt Disney World wasn't even the first theme park. It wasn't the first Disney resort.
Right.
So, but it's the main one that everyone thinks about when people talk about going on Disney holiday. They go, it's Walt Disney World. But hey, there's Tokyo Disney, there's Disneyland Paris, there's Aulani in Hawaii. There are so many different places that you can go. And there's a lot of information happening about all these different parks. And so I wanted to put together a short news burst video that contained images of what we were talking about. So I score hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bits of footage every week to find what I hope will work with what we're talking about. And I'll look at stories that are interesting, not necessarily the biggest stories of the week, but stuff that is interesting.
Right.
Anything that's breaking news obviously really, really helps. But over the last 7 days, what kind of has been happening in the Walt Disney World, so that people have that idea of there is more than just Walt Disney World out there to go and do. And then, put it all together and process it, pop it out on the various places. And it is great fun. I really do enjoy putting the videos together. And then talking about that content with fellow Disney fans on apps like the Clubhouse, which is brilliant. I mean, it is the next generation of social media. Audio and video is where everybody's going. And so to be able to chat with like-minded people like yourself, like with the Disney Addicts Clubhouse,
right.
Which we go on 3-4 times a week and talk about Disney,
yes.
Is fantastic. And so to have these kind of platforms of medium out there, and then people like yourself who watch it and then enjoy it, makes it all worthwhile. So Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And it's so key because I mean, I could be wrong, but let's just look at I mean, especially when you're talking about people in the States, right? So you've got obviously a world that's been shut down for what we thought was going to be 2 weeks, right? That's now turned into, it's going to be approaching a year and a half. And even then, there's still going to be parts of our country and even the world that aren't still going to be anywhere close to what things looked like in 2019, right? So, but our government has shoveled us some money, and a lot of people, like at least I know I did. I mean, I set that all aside, and I was like, because we again very blessed, very fortunate to our work was not affected, but millions and millions of people were, and I definitely don't want to take that for granted. But you've got millions and millions of people that got these stimulus checks, and so hopefully, if they're smart and they didn't really need that money for anything in particular, I set it aside for travel. Like that's because we love to travel. I mean, my wife and I, goodness gracious, we waited a long time, probably too long, to have children because we got married and she was like, I want to enjoy us. I want us to, and so we spent the first 5 years like enjoying each other and traveling all over the world. I mean, that's just what we did. And so we had kids. And so thankfully, I have brainwashed our children to love Disney almost as much as dad does. So they'll go. And typically it's a lot of daddy trips with one or the other because I've got to get that Disney fix in. And so thankfully they're drinking the Kool-Aid, if you will. But, I think, Tom, that we're going to see a world that is just ready to get out and travel again because we've all been hunkered down in our homes, like kind of just waiting out to see where things going. And now as the world is waking back up, the vaccinations have been happening. I think there's going to be a huge boom in travel. And I honestly think international travel. I think people are going to be excited. Like, gosh, we haven't been able to go anywhere for 2 years. Let's go somewhere a little more special. And so to me, when I start thinking about, well, if people don't want to go to Disneyland and Disney California and Disney World, where else could we go? Well, we could go to Hong Kong. We could go to Tokyo Disney Sea. We could go to Disneyland Paris. And that's where and I don't use this word lightly, but your extensive knowledge about the international parks is going to be such a great resource for our listeners when they go to book their travel. So talk a little bit about, how is it that you've just come to know so much about what's going on in all of the world of Disney versus just, your two big main punches that are in the States?
I guess it's like anybody. We all have something in our lives that we are experts at. I mean, I have no idea about cars. As long as it starts and rolls down a hill, I'm good.
I'm with you.
No idea how it works. Literally no idea how it works. There's a lot of things. I'm not great with electronics. I'm not great with a lot of things, basically. Well, but when it comes to Disney, there's something about it that just captures me. Just it sticks in my memory all the time. So I obsess with things that happen in the Disney world. I think obsess is probably actually the wrong word because that makes me sound a little psychotic. But, I love what I read and what I see and what I hear. And when you hear about people's holiday plans, and especially when people have a set budget, because everybody's got a kind of a budget in mind for what they want to spend. And I hear that phrase all over and over again, where people say it's a once in a lifetime trip. In fact, I was watching a Tokyo Disney guy today, TDR Explorer. It's great on YouTube. If you want to know about Tokyo Disney, he's really intense. But even he was saying it's a once in a lifetime holiday. Well, it's not really, because there's so much opportunity and so much to offer these days in the travel world that weren't available back in the day, where you kind of had to go on that off-the-shelf package holiday that was on offer. That was it, and it was 20 grand, and you took it or you leave it. And that's what made it a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Well, of course, now it's very, very different. And this is where Disney travel agents like myself come into play, because we have access to so many suppliers and people that we work with that we can pull all sorts from, whether it's a villa holiday you want, or whether it's an on-site resort. If you want a Disney brand hotel, do you want to stay something a bit more boutique? Do you want self-catering? Do you want to live in a van? You can have whatever you like. It's available and it can fit into your budget. And that's kind of where I draw a lot of my energy when I'm pulling people's packages together, because I kind of go, okay, well, there's the budget. Does this look like something I would go and do? Is this something that would fit into what I believe a Disney fan or someone going to Disney for the first time should really experience, and will it work for them? And the beauty as well is that we can give them these options and they can come back to me and say, I like this, but could we change that? Or could we add this? Or I've just seen that. And that, again, is an awful lot of fun, pulling all these little elements together to create what we like to call their dream or their wish or their fantasy vacation. So, there's a world of Disney out there and a world of places to travel to. And I think for a lot of people, America is, so let's say like for the British people, America tends to be a bit of a once in a lifetime trip, going to Walt Disney World or Disney. Disneyland, in fact, is less popular than Orlando. And I don't know if that's because the promotion for Orlando is bigger in the UK, or whether, it's a bit closer, so it's easy to get to. But actually, cost-wise, it's on par, if not cheaper, to go to Disneyland in California, and you get just as much Disney experience there, plus all the extra stuff that you got in LA. Or, you could go to Walt Disney World. And then Disneyland Paris is kind of the home resort for people there. And even in the UK, they don't really think about overseas. And I have spoke to so many people who have never even heard of Aulani, a Disney resort and spa in Hawaii, which is just amazing, just beautiful, absolutely well done. Really caters for either an adult couple, for solo travelers, or for the family. It's not just for one kind of people. They supply so much, and it is a very, very unique Hawaiian destination holiday done in a Disney style. Right, and I would love more people to go and experience that. It is a little bit more on the pricey side, but it is one of those kind of amazing experiences. And I really, really, really want Disney to open up more destinations like that around the world, because I just think it's brilliant to have these one-off, not theme parks, but one-off destination resorts, in Australia or in Mauritius or, on a Greek island, or, I just think it'd be amazing. So Disneyland Paris is often really not considered as a Disney park, which is quite upsetting, because that's my home park. It's about an hour and a half flight from where I am, so it's kind of just over the road. It often gets referred to as not a real Disney resort, but actually it's phenomenal. It's one of the most beautiful Disney parks in the world by far. It may not have as many attractions or extra parks, but Disneyland Paris Park is quite possibly the most beautiful park out of all of them. The French are generally lovely people. They're really, really engaging. They know how to do customer service. Some of the attractions there are far greater than you'll get in Walt Disney World or in Disneyland. For example, I think our Space Mountain is much, much better than yours.
Agreed. It goes upside down.
It goes upside down. And Big Thunder Mountain, which is my ultimate favorite ride of all, I think we just do it a little bit better.
Yeah, it looks like it sits on an island. I mean, it's so beautifully thought out.
Yes, it's great. We used to, Indiana Jones ride, the roller coaster there used to go backwards. I don't know why they changed it. I don't know why they changed it, but I kind of hope that they change it. So Paris is just as exciting as going to Disneyland or Disney World. And it is an entire resort on its own. They are spending $4 billion at the moment on regenerating the Walt Disney Studios Park, which is desperately needed because it had been a little bit sort of underdeveloped. Sure. But they're bringing in Star Wars. Avengers Campus is opening fairly soon, which will be similar to that you can find in California. Arendale's coming, Frozen. And there's another land. No, that's it, isn't it? Yes. So there's Star Wars, Frozen, and Avengers Campus. So there's a lot happening there as well. And there is discussion about a third park and some more hotels as well coming in the future, which I'm very excited about. Although very early days there. So, and then like the Asia parks is just, there's a whole different ball game there. Yeah. Absolutely a whole different ball game. They just do it differently. I'm talking forever here.
No, I love it. I mean, I just think it goes on to talk about, you're going to be, like I said, we love Disney Parks news, but we focus on, being annual pass holders at Walt Disney World. We focus mainly on that. Well, and it also didn't hurt that since our show launched, like that was one of the few parks in the world that was open consistently. I mean, so it was easy for like all of the attention and all the news to be to drive toward that, because they were down for 4 months and have been open ever since, and so it's looked a little bit different. I know some of the international parks open, but then they closed again, and I know there's some rumblings that Paris may be announcing something soon. Again, just rumors, but I'm just excited to talk about the fact that we have somebody with all of this knowledge that isn't just primarily focused on your America parks. And so that was what drew me to Tom, and what me started tugging on his shirt tails and said, hey, we're looking for somebody that we want to point people that love our show and that love Disney to. And I said, I think you're the guy. And so I took my shot, and you obviously have accepted. So again, we are super thankful, but I feel like we hit the trifecta here. And what I mean by that is, not only have we landed you guys as our main travel agency that we're going to use, but we've also gotten your permission to air your weekly videos. But there's a whole nother piece that we haven't even talked about. And that is, you're actually going to do a podcast on the Another Disney Podcast Network all about traveling to the mouse. And so I unpack a little bit about what your show is going to be like. And I mean, I just kind of feel like we're not worthy. So I'm going to shut up because I feel like I'm fangirling the entire time. But again, we're just so excited to have you come on board and bring all your wealth of knowledge, your wealth of services, but then a great show that I know you're going to produce for us every week. Talk a little bit about that.
Thank you. The fangirling is fine, but honestly, I think I'm the fangirl for you guys, because I watch and love your stuff all the time. So, it's an honor for me to be joining you guys on Another Disney Podcast. And I really do hope that we can put together some great shows that the listeners out there will love. And I want the listeners to get involved as well, because at the end of the day, the magic is for these guys.
Right.
And so, anybody who wants to throw in some questions, anybody who wants some advice on what to do, where to go, how to do, what to do, fling it at me, because if I don't already know the information, and there is a world of Disney information out there to go for. I'm not quite yet a walking encyclopedia of Disney, getting there, but not quite there yet. So actually feed me with information that you want to know, and then we'll make sure that gets out there. But there is so much more to do with traveling to a Disney park, planning your vacations, things that people don't generally think about, because it's a lot more than just your flight, your hotel, your accommodation, your tickets. If you're going somewhere, for example, if you're going to go and do the Asia parks, let's say you're flying from Orlando, you want to go and do Tokyo Disney. Well, it's a long flight. It's a long trip. So if you're going to go, you want to make sure that you're really benefiting from not only experiencing the magic of Disney, but also experiencing the magic that is available in the countries that you're going to.
Right.
And that there are some things to bear in mind. So Shanghai Disney, which is the newest Disney park, they're celebrating their 5th anniversary right as we speak, is a fantastic park. I mean, it has one of the biggest castles, some of the state-of-the-art rides. Pirates of the Caribbean ride that is there is just out of this world. I mean, where they dream up this new technology, where they sit down and go, hey, what should we do? Let's make the boat spin. It's fantastic. But it's really a 1 or 2 day park. I mean, you could probably stretch it to 3. There's about 40 attractions, let's say, at Shanghai Disney. Right. So there's quite a bit to do there. But ultimately, after 2 or 3 days, you've pretty much done everything. And it is aimed very much at the locals, like a lot of the Asia parks are. A lot of this kind of you'll find the weekdays a little bit quieter, but the weekends are manic. So if you're going to go for the weekdays, then really sort of 3 days. If you're going to go more the weekends, maybe you might try to stretch it. Hong Kong Disneyland, which has been there a long, long time. They're celebrating 15 years at the moment. Brand new reimagined castle. It's extremely unique. The Castle of Magical Dreams. It represents every single Disney princess on the planet. But again, it's a lovely park, but it's a one park, and there is no plans now for a second park. So if you're going to go there, you're looking at maybe only 2 days. If you go to Tokyo Disney, it's a totally different world. We got 2 parks there. We also have Disney's most expensive hotel in Tokyo Disney Sea. If you've got a deep pocket, then the Miracosta Hotel might be where you want to go and stay. because it's in the parks. I mean, you can't get any closer to the action.
Right.
And to watch the nighttime spectacular on the lake there with Mount Prometheus in the background, wow. It's expensive. But you can stretch Tokyo Disney to maybe 4 or 5 days. So if you're going from the US and you want to explore the US parks, explore the Asia parks,
yes,
then you might want to consider a 14-day or maybe even stretch it to 21 days and go and see a little bit of the culture around as well, because the Asia countries have got some fantastic food. They got some fantastic places you can go and sightsee, some of the most amazing modern and traditional buildings and architecture and all this kind of stuff that's around as well. So, you can mix and match your holiday. So you do a couple of days at Shanghai Disney and then go and see a bit of the nightlife in Shanghai, go to Tokyo Disney and do like a river cruise,
right,
one of your days. So a bit like when you do Walt Disney World, if you go for 14 days, you don't necessarily spend 14 days in the parks.
Right.
You might have a couple of days around the pool. You might go to a mall, take in, some pancakes at IHOP, do something on the off chance. But the same goes for when you go to these Asia parks as well, because the traveling is horrendously long. So make the most of it. Go and do some more things, cultural experiences that you can go home with and go, not only did we visit a Disney park that is out of this world, like we've never experienced before, it's a unique experience there, but we also got to experience the culture of those countries we went to.
Yeah.
And you've also got over that way, which is not specifically Disney orientated, but you've got Singapore Universal, which is relatively new, state of the art, and that could be on your trip plan as well. Do 3 Disney parks and a Universal on the way there, do 4 countries. You could fit it all in. There's plenty of time. And that's what I love planning for people, bringing all these extra options, all these extra alternatives that are readily available, are not necessarily expensive to add on, and can really enhance your experience and make the vacation a true magical vacation.
Yeah. And I love that because when you talk about doing anything that's off Disney property, especially for anybody who's traveling out of their comfort zone in their country and going to someplace that's unique, you can't help but think that there's that little bit of inherent fear of, well, gosh, can I trust being off Disney property? And what I love about what you guys do is you take care of all of that planning. And so like if they're going to do something that is not Disney related on their time with Tokyo, you can set them up with the guide and what that excursion is going to look like. And so there are all these different unique possibilities when you're talking about going and traveling, especially because I know for me, like we have not been to Tokyo. That is on the bucket list. My wife is enamored with Japan. She is dying to go. And so when we go, there's no way she's going to go and go to Tokyo for 5 days and go to Disney and come home. Like she'll kill me, and or she'll stay there. And so these are kind of things that you'll want to experience to get that love and your passion for Disney, but go and invest some time and do some of that cultural experience stuff, but have somebody like Tom as your travel agent and that travel team that he has to make sure it all cohesively syncs together and sets that all up for you, so you don't have to worry about a thing. That's the point of a travel agent. If I wanted to set it all up and build it and worry about every little detail on my own, well, then that's on me. But why do that? All I want to do is go do the fun part. Let these guys that have all of this passion, all of this knowledge, and all of this experience and insight in all these places that we're not going to have, set up all that hard work for you. And so that's what I'm excited to offer you guys as our listeners, is somebody that's way more steeped in Disney culture, but also can help you experience other cultural experiences, especially if you want to land at a different Disney park. I mean, I had the privilege of going to Disneyland Paris for the first time in 2019, literally 5 months before the pandemic happened. Who knew that was coming, right? And so we were there for 3 days. I went to the parks for 2 days. And of course, we'd spend a day going around Paris. How silly would it have been for me to go there and just do Disney parks because of that? I'm scared to am I going to get pickpocketed or whatever? No, when you have somebody that helps plan all that out for you, that's all the hard part and takes all the stress out of it. So that I'm excited for. And so you're going to talk about all of these things on your show that you do every week. And I think we have a name. Did we land on a name for it? I think we did.
We did, yes. I mean, yes, we. I think you came up with the name actually, and I think you sent it to me and said it was something along these lines, and it was just the perfect name, and that was Traveling to the Magic, because that's what we're doing. We're traveling to the magic, and that can be anywhere in the world, So, I'm really excited to do that, and you're absolutely right about using travel agents to do the travel planning for you. It's your dream, it's your wish, it's your fantasy holiday that you put together. It's your ideas that we pulled to package together for you, and ultimately it's going to be what you want. But we're the ones that have got the time and to sit and do it all. And a lot of people don't have that time. A lot of people are busy at work. You have a few valuable hours with your family of an evening time. Do you really, really want to be sitting down and researching where to go, trying to find the best deals? Not really. You want to spend that time with your family, getting excited about your Disney holiday. So let us do that. And the best bit as well, and double check when you go with any travel agent, and obviously come to me. I'd love you to come to me. Whichever travel agent you use, our services are free. We don't charge you. We don't charge a penny to create your dream vacation, and no one should be charging to do that, because it's our job. We are paid effectively from our different suppliers. So it's their job to give us the information that we can give to you to make sure that we can package whatever you want together in your budget. And it's not going to cost you any more to use my services for as long as you need them. If it takes you a year or 2 years, however long to plan your perfect vacation, all that time's for free. So if you send me 400 emails, don't worry about it, because I'm not charging you. I'm not a lawyer. I don't charge per email. It's free. So Traveling to the Magic, I think, is going to be a great podcast to be able to kind of impart a lot of that information about using travel agents and the benefits of that, and looking at all the different kind of travel options, talking about things to do. I mean, I liked what you said earlier on about people maybe being nervous about going to foreign countries, because the Asian culture is extremely different to the Western culture, extremely different. And people get very nervous about language issues, language barriers. And so, when you say to them, you get off the plane at Narita Airport, what happens? Well, some people will be quite comfortable getting the metro line, which I like to point out, if you've not seen the metro line that goes to Disney in Tokyo, it is pretty much Mickey on wheels. It's giant Mickey ear windows. It's so much fun. If you are a little bit braver, and it's really, really easy to use. But if you're not, and you want to look at some private options, private pickup, all these things, we can take all that stress away from you. Yeah. Because we know about all the little ins and outs. And then I love what you said earlier on about, you went to Paris, to Disneyland Paris, and hey, Paris is like just up the road. You can get the train if you want to. It
was like 40 minutes, I think, on the train, and there's a stop at Disneyland Resort. I mean, it can't get any easier.
Exactly. And I was dealing with a customer the other day who's booking for Christmas, and I was like, have you thought about going into to Paris? Because we can sort out maybe go see Moulin Rouge. And they were like, that's just a movie. And I was like, no, it's not. It's a real
one
thing.
Of my top 5 favorites, by the way.
There we go. So when you next go to Disneyland Paris, and you want to go into Paris, go see Moulin Rouge, the original, the real Moulin Rouge. There's just so much to go and see and do on top of the magic as well. And all the things that maybe Disney don't tell you about when you go to these parks, all those little extras that you can do at these parks, these private VIP tours, these workshops you can do. There's so much. If you're a school group, if you want to go, if there's a school in America that thinks, hey, this would be great for a trip for kids to go to learn a bit about France and do Paris at the same time, give us a call. We can put all that together and we can create school workshops at the Disney park where they can learn to be Disney voice actors. They can learn to be Disney characters. They can even perform on the stages inside the Disney park. I mean, there's all these kind of opportunities and stuff available for people to go and do. So I'm looking forward to doing the podcast that kind of lets you in on all of these different things that you can do when traveling to the magic.
Yeah, there's just so much. And I'm so thankful to have somebody like on our team that has that extensive knowledge that's not really, and I'm not saying this to be ugly about the majority of your Disney travel agents. They know that the biggest amount of people certainly go to Walt Disney World, and probably second Disneyland. And that's fair that they have extensive knowledge and put most of their focus on there. But I mean, when I was looking, when I heard you start talking, I was like, this is the guy that I want, because I don't want it to just be, well, we're Disney World pass holders, and that's the park that we talk about, so that's what we're going to look pointing people to. No, because we've got this whole Disney universe, for lack of a better term, out there that, I mean, I think people are going to be itching to explore, or maybe be thinking about it now where they weren't before, because we're like, we haven't been able to travel in 2 years. Maybe some people even longer, if they were waiting for, I can think of the people that plan their Disney vacation. They go like maybe every other year. And let's just say they went in 2018 and they were going to go in 2020. And then look what happened. And now it's like, so there are people that are going to have, sometimes 3-4 year gaps, and they're going to be itching to go. And maybe that gap has opened up the opportunity to go to a Disney park they only dreamed of going. And so I love that we'll be able to have a resource that people can really plow into the details and figure out how to experience that trip, not just those parks, but that trip to like its fullness. And so I'm over the moon about it. Now let's talk about when this is launching. And so it's very, very, very soon, but I'll just say, to protect Tom and let him catch his breath, I'll say it's launching this summer. So it's very soon. I'm going to probably, it's a month that starts with J. Is that fair?
It's close enough.
There you go. So, and it'll land on a day that ends in Y. There we go. Now we're ready. So, well, let's go ahead and just talk about, so the best place for people to find you is flymickey.com or flymickey.co.uk, right? You have both of those, correct?
Yes. So if you're in the US or outside of the UK, the best is .com, flymickey.com. If you're in the UK or Europe, then flymickey.co.uk is the best to get. But both will take you to the website.
Yes.
Because we are a British company, obviously, the prices on the website are in Great British pounds, but we work with all currencies and we work with all people around the world. So don't worry that because we are, we're predominantly aimed at the British because that's where we're based. We're based in central London. We actually work with customers all over the world. So, if you're in China right now and you want to go to the US, then we can deal in yen. We can do that. If you are in the US, then we can work in US dollars, and it'll be what that current rate is. But it just helps, I think, when you're searching the web. If you're looking for us in America, then flymickey.com and flymickey.co.uk in the UK, and all our social media platforms. So whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, is all under Fly Mickey Travel. So it's just nice and easy to find.
Yes. I love it. Tom, thank you again. We're excited to see where this goes. Can't wait for the show. Can't wait to have your weekly videos on our YouTube page, and just can't wait for you to be able to share your knowledge and passion for Disney and help our listeners and viewers have the perfect Disney vacation of a lifetime. So, okay. So it's officially out there. We've launched it. We're talking about it. And so it's, here we go, man. I'm ready for the ride.
I'm really looking forward to it. And like I said earlier on, if there's listeners out there who have got burning questions that they want to get some information on, even if it's just a vague quote or some vague ideas, and they want to hear about it in the Traveling to the Magic podcast, then just send them in and we'll make sure they get on there for them. Absolutely looking forward to it. So much fun.
Tom, thank you again. I can't wait for episode 1, and we're excited to have you on board. This is awesome.
Brilliant. Yeah, coming to your ears very soon in a month beginning with J.
I love it. Oh, I cannot tell you how excited I am about everything going on with Tom. I know that it was probably pretty obvious during that segment, but I digress. So, but we're not done. So next I want to bring up a dear, dear friend that I've known almost my entire life. And what's funny is we grew up going to theme parks together with friends, like oddly enough. And so when we both grew up and had our own families and had children, and we both discovered that, oh my gosh, we both have this ridiculous obsession for Disney.
Yes.
And before I go too deep, I would love to bring in and welcome my great friend, Audrey.
Hi,
Hello.
you guys. It's so good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
I'm so happy to be here.
We're doing something.
Yes, we are.
And people don't know that we've been doing something. We just haven't launched it yet.
Yeah. We're 3 episodes in?
Yeah. So
fun.
we are going to do a show together on the Another
Yep.
Disney Podcast Network.
Yes, it is called Plan for the Magic. And I am a huge Walt Disney World fan. So I think with the previous guest, Tom, you're going to get like lots of information about lots of parks, which is terrific. On our podcast, we're focusing mostly on Walt Disney World, although
Yes.
I think hopefully Disneyland will end up in there
Eventually.
at some point. Yeah. I am a mom of 2 boys, and we have just fallen back in love. I grew up going to Disney World. I have just fallen back in love with the place through the eyes of my kids. And so I love planning trips. I love the details. I love thinking really far in advance. So Dave, you and I are partnering on a show because you don't quite travel the same way to Walt Disney World as I do. So hopefully for those who need some tips or are just interested in hearing the super duper planner, they can tune in for some of the tips and ideas that I talk about. And then, some of what you do is you go frequently for shorter periods of time. So, and you'll get to talk about that too. So it's a little bit of 2 very different ways of traveling to Walt Disney World. And I'm already having a really good time.
I know it's been so much fun. And so our goal is, I think we can announce it because we're only 1 episode away. And so our goal is to shower you guys with a binge fest of episodes. So our goal is we are going to try. Well, I can tell you, we're definitely going to launch with 3 because we've recorded.
We've already done those.
But I think we're going to launch with 4. So we'll have 4 episodes. I'm not going to give them away at all. It's just all about planning for the magic, or plan, because we're calling the show Plan for the Magic. And so, and then it'll be a weekly release. Our goal is 30 minutes. Some of them are like 40, but I mean, they're enough to get you back, like on the way to work and back from work. It's definitely enough if you got a 15-20 minute commute, you can listen to it in a day. But we're going to let you binge the first few, get you excited about what's coming in. And we're going to cover, talk about some of the things we're going to cover, Audrey.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So we have, the first couple episodes are really sort of large, big ticket items that are happening right now with Walt Disney World. Things like the park reservations, which is sort of a new thing since COVID. But we're going to do some of our favorite places to stay on property and off property, why we love those places. We're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about strategies for what days to go to what parks. Should you have a resort day? All of those kinds of things. So there will be, hopefully it's really just entertainment.
Yes,
we
sure.
love talking about it. We're not certified Disney vacation planners, but we love Disney World, and so hopefully there will be a few things that are informative and fun and can help your next trip happen great.
I guess I would say our elevator pitch is Audrey is the super Uber planner mom. And I am the how many times will my wife let me go in a year? And we think almost everybody is probably going to meet somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
And so we thought we'd have our complete like opposite way of how we do Disney. And I think it'll create some fun friction where we can pick on each other a little bit.
That's right.
I often start all of my segments with, hey, mine might not be the best way, but it's the right way. You know, I'll typically start with something like that. And
Dave
then she
wrong.
follows with he's incorrect. But yeah, I mean, Audrey, you're the mom that you love like to give. How about I give my perspective of your planning?
Oh, yes.
And then
Okay.
Let's go. Let's see how close I am.
Okay, good.
So you guys are a huge trip every year. Stay on property.
Definitely.
Meal plan for the most part, but and now who knows when that's going to come back. But the Disney dining plan. And all the way you think of everything through like what are the decorations that you're bringing for the room and to put whatever over the boys' beds. And so you're very intricate with all the details that go along and the surprises that I'm sure that you do beforehand leading up. And not like them not knowing at all when they're going and then they wake up and we're going to Disney World. So that's kind of your style, right?
Totally.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I will say I got a 86% right. Let's just do that.
I'm impressed. that was real, especially like the decorations in the room.
Yeah. I remember you said
for the kids. Yeah. And okay, my turn.
Go.
Okay. So, Dave has an annual pass and has calculated the number of days he needs to be in the park to make that argument worthwhile for renewing. And that's like 10 days, 12 days, something like that.
It's in
and
there, yeah.
So he has broken up the year into roughly long weekends and tries to get 3-ish trips in. He's staying off property, super cheap, but clean. He is flying, but direct so that it's a short flight. So he can use the day that he gets there for some kind of activity.
Yes.
He is, almost always forgets to eat something because he's just going in the parks and he sleeps late and he stays for the nighttime festivity. How's that?
Well, I was going to make a joke about 98 degrees or 98% correctly, but I think you got it 100% correct. I was just trying to work a 98 degrees boy band joke in there, but it failed miserably. Okay. So let's see. Plan for the magic. Mm-hmm. Old friends, fun, witty banter. I mean, and we're going to talk about all kinds of things. We're going to talk about when we choose to go and why. I mean, we even have an episode of looking at all 12 calendar months and what the advantages or disadvantages are to going during those months. And so I love that we'll take, the first couple of episodes are broad strokes as getting to know us, getting to know how we do Disney. Then we'll drill deeper and then hopefully pick on each other along the way as to, and then look, there's no wrong way to go to Disney. Just go to Disney.
Yeah. I mean, I actually say that. I mean, as much as I make fun of how mine is right and Dave's perspective is wrong. I mean, the great part about this is it is Walt Disney World, and however you get there and however you choose to experience it, it's Walt Disney World. It's a completely magical place. Mm-hmm. So it really, however you can, whenever you can go, hopefully there will be something we offer that can make it a little more magical. And I think there will be. So I'm super excited. I love talking about Disney World, and we have trips. Both of us have trips this year, and we will be reporting on where we are in our planning stages for each of those on occasion. And then we'll report back how it went, what we thought, that kind of thing. So
now there is another aspect that you'll be able to touch on because you just did something for the first time in forever.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
So we did the math and we're crunching numbers and all that stuff. And so we made the decision in March to become members of the Disney Vacation Club. We bought points at Old Key West. That is our home resort. We are doing our first DVC, like full DVC trip this fall. And I did not know. Here's your tip. This is your free trip, free tip.
Already?
Already. So when you purchase DVC, if you go through Disney, which is what we decided, and we can have a whole conversation about why and how and all that stuff versus the resale market, they hold vacation availability for new DVC members. And so for your first vacation, even though our home resort is Old Key West, we she was like, where do you want to go? And of course my kids were like, the Polynesian, where else would we want to stay? So yeah, that's where I grew up staying. The first time we took the boys, they were 5 and 2, and we stayed at the Polynesian. So it has a soft place in their heart. That's where we'll be. So yeah, what's fun about that is I'm learning. I mean, we're 2 months into this. And so I'm very happy to kind of share what we're learning along the way. There are plenty of resources for pros who want, any questions you have, but it'll be fun to kind of see how it goes and share a little bit about that journey. So we're excited.
Yeah, I am too. Audrey, I think this is, well, it already has been. Spoiler alert, it has been a lot of fun. But I think it's going to get even better. And so again, kind of like along the lines of what Tom said, what will make this show even better is you guys sending us emails, sending us text messages of questions that you have of something that we covered or didn't cover, or even maybe want us to drill deeper on.
Yes.
That's what's going to make this show better. And so we crave your input. We want your questions. And so if you guys send that in, like, that's obviously going to make the show so much more better and, kind of focus more on what you guys want to hear and learn about.
And you can decide if you're on Team Wing It or Team Plan It.
Yeah. So that's kind of our little shtick, right? Wing it or plan it. I will say there are massive advantages to both, but as much as I like to play that I like to wing it, I still have to plan.
Well, yeah. I mean, this, there should be like, there is a context here. Winging it for Disney is not necessarily like legit winging it in other circumstances.
Correct. It's not like going to Busch Gardens. Like if you go to Busch Gardens in Tampa, I mean, you just do whatever you want to do.
Right.
Disney just doesn't quite work that way. However, as some of the stuff that we've unpacked, COVID is a little bit more fun for the wingers.
Yes.
Because there's no fast pass. There's all the stuff that's going on. You'll hear us talk about all of this in the first few episodes.
Yeah. Come and join us. Plan for the magic. We'd love to have you along for the ride.
Now, what's separate from Tom is we told him that we announced that this podcast was coming very, very soon on a month that started with J, which is true. But ours, we know it's launching the first week of June. Because we've got a whole binge-worthy pieces, and it'll of course be on video and on audio. And again, plan for the magic. All you'll have to do is go to your pod catcher of choice and just search Another Disney Podcast, or of course if you search Plan for the Magic, it will land there as well. We even have our own theme music that Audrey hasn't even heard yet.
All right. Well,
I sent it. Did I send it? Maybe I sent it to you. Maybe I did send it to you.
It was perfect. Very much.
Yeah, it works. Audrey, this is going to be so much fun. Thanks for coming on and being a part of the team here. I'm excited to do this show.
I'm so
I think we'll bring a lot of info, but hopefully a lot of fun to the table.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Thanks for having me.
Yes. First week of June. Hey,
check us out.
We'll be here. Audrey, thanks for popping on and announcing this with me. This was so great.
For sure.
Man, we really are excited to get Plan for the Magic out to you guys. We've recorded so many episodes already, and we're just ready to share it with the world. So got some fun trip reports coming up over the next month or so as we're each headed down to Orlando. And then, of course, the 50th coming up. It's just going to be exciting. So Plan for the Magic. Audrey, thanks again. So excited. But we're not done yet. We have yet another host who's joining the Another Disney Podcast family. And so please welcome with me my internet friend that I found yet again in Clubhouse, Emily. Emily. Now, okay, so if people who follow our show or have been a part of any of our episodes, they might recognize you as you were on a Reimagineer episode where we talked, we played a little bit in World Showcase.
Yeah, absolutely. I had so much fun on that, and Dave asked me to come back and do my own thing, and I was like, absolutely, I would love to do that.
So again, just like Tom, lots of fun Disney clubs within Clubhouse and really cool. And so heard Emily talking in this kind of fandom room. And then of course there's a Disney room that we were in together. And it's like, wow, this girl's sharp. Looked at her profile and I was like, Okay. All right. So as they say, I took my shot. I reached out to her and said, hey, this is what I do. I run a podcast with two of my great friends, and we kind of covered like Disney parks, Disney IPs, and Disney Plus, because that's such a big popular thing during all of the pandemic as everyone was trapped at home, like consuming tons of content.
Right.
And so, but our Disney Plus segment just kind of tanked. Just kind of fell off boy, it was really great when we had Ryan with us because he was really passionate about all of the like Star Wars and WandaVision, and we got real deep, and we kept it going after he unfortunately had to leave us, and we kept it going with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it just kind of died. We were like, you know what? Let's find somebody else who's passionate about it. And so, Emily, you love consuming content. So please share with our ADP family what you're jumping on to do.
So yeah, like Dave said, I am super excited to talk to you guys about Disney Plus content. I love stories in general. So whether it's a good book, a movie, or a TV show, I'm all about it. And that's what I like to do in my free time, and especially Disney. I grew up on Disney. My family was a Disney family. And so consuming new Disney content, but also old Disney content, and just reviewing it and maybe looking at it from a different lens. So that's why I decided to agree to do this podcast and just share with you guys, what do I think about Disney and what should you guys watch or what's worth your time?
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, I just think it's such a big part of, people's lives, especially like I mentioned, coming out of the pandemic, like that was a big kind of connection piece for a lot of us Disney fans who haven't been able to be at the parks or have just been disconnected for so many ways. Like I grew up loving going to watch movies at the theater, so much so that I built a home theater room. That's literally the studio that we record all of our episodes in. And so I haven't gone as much because I just brought the theater home to me, but the theater is a big part of people's lives. And that was just another thing that was kind of yanked underneath everybody. So Disney Plus was so great because of the back catalog that they had. I mean, and of course, they just kind of got, were landed in the right spot and launched a year or so before the pandemic hit. Not that the pandemic has been a good thing, but like it definitely was great to have that piece of Disney during what we were living through. And so
absolutely,
you're jumping on board and you're doing a Disney Plus show. So a few weeks ago, I asked you, I was like, I reached out to you, I either texted you or was on Instagram or something. I said, hey, Emily, like, have you thought about a name? And I threw out a couple of ideas just to kind of get your creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
But it took a few weeks, but you hit me back recently with what you thought you wanted to call the show, and I lost my mind. So please share with us what you're going to call it.
Before I announce it, I want to tell you that I was mulling over what I should call my podcast, and I was just thinking about it, and I was asking some of the guys who might be helping me out, and I just couldn't figure it out, and I was really stressed about it, and we were going to record this segment, and I was like, I got to get this done. I got to pick a name, and I told you that you were like, I need a name from you, and I was like, you know what? And all of a sudden, it just everything clicked in my brain. So the name of my podcast is Disney Plus and Pixie Dust.
Oh, is it going to have that special sound too?
Always, yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yes, I thought that was brilliant because there's a lot of really clever Disney Plus podcast names. I'm not going to lie. And so as I looked through them, I was like, oh, that's a good one. Oh, man, why does that one have to be taken? And so I was worried. Like, I didn't want it to just be like, hey, another Disney podcast, Disney Plus. Like, I wanted you to be able to find like your voice and your identity. And when you came up with that, I was like, brilliant. Done. It's done.
Well,
that's it.
I loved Peter Pan growing up. That was my favorite Disney movie when I was little. I wanted to be a pirate. And so for some reason, I don't know why, I know that the bad guys in that movie, but I just loved Peter Pan because of the pirates. And so Tinkerbell obviously is a big thing, and Pixie Dust. And I was like, you know what? Disney Plus, Pixie Dust, it kind of works.
It does. It's so good. So let's talk about, because all of these shows that we've announced today, they're all kind of launching at different times. And so let's talk about what our, and all of this will be like, this is our goal. This is a hope too, that none of this stuff is set in stone. So I know like you have a really fun career that you do, and summer's kind of when your work really ramps up. And so we wanted to be like strategic of how we launch that, so you actually had space to be ready for it and prepare and not have it like affect your like work life. I mean, because that's important too. And so walk us through what we think this will look like, and talk to us about, is this going to be you? Are you going to have guests? Will you have people with you every week? What's it going to look like?
Yeah, so I'm a summer camp director. So for those of you who don't know, I live in the middle of the woods. I kind of tell people I'm living my Disney princess moment out here in the middle of the woods. So I love that for me. But summer obviously is really busy because we have a lot of kids who just like come into my home, and that's what I have to do. So when we were trying to figure out how we want to launch, I didn't want to overcommit myself and then not be able to launch the podcast in the way that I think it truly deserves. So we're shooting for the end of July to be the release date for that, and we're going to start with low key. At that point, we'll have a lot of episodes released, and I'll have time to go through it, and we can really dive into low key. And then as far as host, my brother-in-law is going to be with me, and he is awesome. He is a big fan of Marvel and Star Wars and just Disney in general. And then one of our really good friends, Matthew, is going to be there. He's a super funny guy, and the two of them together are really fun. So I think most of the time it's going to be all three of us. Sometimes it just might be a combination of the two of us, and I think maybe sometimes I'll just take it all for my own and make it my own. So there'll be a lot of us rotating in and out, but you'll get to know the three of us pretty well.
I love it. Yeah, it's good to have that flexibility. Like for us, we're recording this in May. It'll launch like actually the last Friday in May, and so May has been insane. I talked about it at the top of our episode, and so we just couldn't figure out a special time to get all of us guys together to kind of announce this. So everybody's kind of stuck with poor old Dave on this episode, even though it's like kind of our biggest announcement, our biggest launching growth. But it's okay. They're like we roll with it. We make it happen. We had some big announcements that we wanted to get rolled out because some of these shows are launching as soon as the first week of June. So we're excited to roll these shows out over the coming couple of months and, into summer. And Emily, I can't wait for people to hear what your clear passion is. It's going to be so incredible for you to share your love for Disney, share what's happening on Disney Plus, but dive deep into some old stuff. And of course, talking about all these new things. And I can't wait to hear the witty banter between you and the rest of your team.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so excited. I think it's going to be the best. And honestly, my whole life, my favorite thing has been either going to the movies or sitting down and putting in my VHS player of my favorite Disney movies that I've watched over and over and over again. And I think there's a reason why those movies are still classic and we can still talk about them. They can still be entertaining. So we want to give you guys a good mix of news and what we think of all the new exciting things happening on Disney Plus. But at the same time, we don't want to abandon the classics because they put them on Disney Plus for a reason, right?
Right.
So we want to make sure we get a lot of good content for you guys.
I love it. Well, thanks again. I mean, I will say it's no secret that Mary Poppins is my favorite film of all time. And just like you, I wore that VHS out. Absolutely wore it out. And so, Emily, this is going to be great. End of July sometime, if all things go well, Disney Plus and Pixie Dust. Emily, I'm so excited to have you part of the Another Disney Podcast family. I think people are really going to be blown away by just your knowledge and passion and love for Disney. Can't wait.
You. I'm so excited.
Disney Plus and Pixie Dust. Here we go. Wow, man. Like I said, it's big news. I can't believe how fast this has kind of come together, and just meeting all these people online. It's just been a tremendous building kind of this future with ADP. And so I think you're going to be really excited when it comes to Tom, having a travel agent that we can point people to, him having an incredible show, dealing with Disney travel. And of course, Audrey and I jumping in with Plan for the Magic. And of course, Emily picking up where we dropped the ball tremendously with Disney Plus. I know her and the team are going to do an amazing job. And so, that's it. That's our show for this week. I know it wasn't a lot of Disney content, but I am excited to share this. And I thought what better way to kind of launch into the holiday weekend with sharing some exciting news that we've been holding on to for literally months as we've been putting all this together. And so here we go, man. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm just here for the adventure and the journey. And I really hope it's some shows that you guys can connect with, and really we can be just kind of this one-stop shop for whatever your passion is for Disney. When it comes to how do I plan and put together the best trip, like who should I call for my travel agent, and then when you're home and in between Disney trips, plowing through your Disney Plus content, Emily and her team is going to be great to just share with you what's new, diving deeper into some classics. I think it's going to be great. And of course, you'll be stuck with us, same three crazies with me, Matthew, and Brandon, just rolling along with our basically parks focused content. And so that's what we're passionate about the most. And of course, we play our fun little games with Pick One and all that stuff we'll get to continue. So, hey, we're just strap in. We're in for the journey. We're so thankful that you're kind of hanging out and going through it with us. And as always, we would love your feedback. If you have show ideas, anything you want to talk about, like how you want to say, you guys are doing it all wrong, how are you not doing this? Please, you can text us at 757-563-4742. Email us at anotherdispodcast@gmail.com. And of course, find us on social, mostly at Another Disney Podcast. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week for Reimagineer It and another show next Friday. Have a great holiday.